Just waiting for it. Aha, there it is. Yes, part 15 of Wolves on the BackBit. Now, this one, oh boy, it's called Where Projects Go to Die. Sounds pretty morbid. Well, in a way, this project was in trouble. You see, parts 1 through 14 span about 7 weeks' time. Part 15 alone takes up the next 6 months. That's right. I pretty much stopped working on this project altogether. I just didn't want to admit it. And the only thing that kind of got me back on course, I suppose, was well, I was spring cleaning, so I was selling a bunch of stuff on eBay, and I came across my spare Commodore 64. Now, the keyboard's kind of, yeah, so I didn't really like it anyway, so I was like, yeah, let's sell this thing. But before you go, let's see if it can play the little wolf video. It didn't do it. Well, it played it, but it didn't play it right. Something was wrong. And, well, that's a can of worms that I just had to open. So, yeah, this video pretty much explores the differences between that Commodore and the one I still use and why. Oh. And of course, before I got rid of this machine, it did sell. I have to make sure it works with my program while I still have it. So, luckily, I did figure it out what the differences were and, came up with some concession and it works. It works now. I thought it would have worked initially because, I mean, I just assumed it was such and such and it wasn't. So, yeah, well, I guess that's what there's a video about. I shouldn't just tell you about it, But anyway, so let's get to it. It starts off on a somewhat sad note, but part of the coding adventure, I suppose, is the emotions, really, because, yeah, there's elation, there's frustration, there's, satisfaction, but there's also a little bit of despair and self-loathing, I suppose. Maybe a lot of programmers do this. It can't be just me, but I do. Every time I waste time, even though I continue to do so, I feel guilty about it. And luckily, this particular problem kind of got me back on track. It sort of reignited my curiosity, and you can kind of tell from my demeanor from the beginning to the end. I sort of slip back into my usual self. It's funny to watch from the outside because I'm all like, oh, mopey. But then, I sort of light up when I discover things. It's like achievement unlocked. Cool. Anyway, part 15, Where Projects Go to Die. Let's watch.
Oh, this darn toothache. Good thing it doesn't.
I haven't touched this in a week or two. I feel so bad about that. But I just booted it up, tried to remember the changes I need to make to run it through 4 buffers. And I got it right. I do have a way to compress the color. I got to try it. That involves a lot of work. I'm determined to get this to 100% or at least close to it. And I want to get this done soon because obviously my interest has trickled off and it's no longer something I work on every night. Yeah. And thank you, Fall Guys Season 6. You're part of the problem. Woo! All right, ciao. And fast forward 7 weeks, and I still haven't really touched it. I haven't done the color compression. I've forgotten what the settings were. I had to look up an old photograph to change this. I forget my memory map. Second time oh man, no. Long story short, I'm in trouble. This is why projects die. It's funny. It's like once you put it on the back burner, it's you might as well just delete it. This sucks. I swear, I'm going to get this finished soon. It's not that I'm angry at it. It's not that I want to get it desperately done, but I feel the need to achieve the goal that I have set for myself. And I do have ideas for further things, and I feel terrible that I haven't really been pursuing anything. It's like, why, like going to work, who cares? Nobody cares. I mean, nobody cares about this either. But this is kind of what I'm doing to sort of validate myself. I don't know what that means. I really don't. It's like, uh, yeah, this is pretty sad. I'm just going to press stop now. All right. Let's record and check this out because this one that I'm trying to sell is different, and I don't know why.
Oh, the water always tastes so good here. Cause you're so hungry? Nah, I'm feeling great. My toothache just got better. Just excited, that's all.
I am willing to bet that this one is, I think, 263 raster lines. This one's probably 262. So it's slowly getting ahead of the audio. Of course, I can plug this sucker in, try out my more recent version, which accounts for that. And if that's the case, then it should play properly on this one. All right. Here we got it loaded up on this thing with my more recent version, which takes into account the different amount of cycles, if that's, or not cycles, raster lines, 262, 263. If that's the case, then this should now play in sync, and it'll take a long time to find out. Here we go.
Better, much better. Too bad you didn't get better sooner. Yeah, sooner would have been better.
Why is it getting ahead?
Toothache just got better. Just excited, that's all.
Well, that's no good. Yeah, I don't think I can sell this yet until I figure out why it's different. I think I figured it out. You know what's going wrong here? Well, you can't barely see it because, well, yeah. Wait a second. I'm hitting. Duh. Okay, let's try this one. On this machine, this makes a completely solid beam down the screen because it's screen off, interrupt flag disable, whatever, and exactly 65 cycles per raster line. So what's this? It's either 64 or, no, it's got to be 64 because it's being delayed a little bit. Yes. All right, I changed one of those filler commands from a 4-cycle to a 3-cycle read. There we go. There's our beam, right? And of course it's all poochy in the middle because, yeah, something with this monitor doesn't like it. 64 machine cycles per raster line. I thought I accounted for that in my code, but, well, now I know it's not.
Yeah, sooner would have been better. What? It was a great hunt.
I think I have the synchronization down on the old video chip.
Stop. Good for you.
At first I had it count to 60 in the raster interrupt and then skip the 61st and reset the counter. For some reason that didn't work.
My toothache just got better. I'm just excited, that's all.
Hey, it's good enough. Look at this nonsense. It didn't finish all the frames because it's set to count so many and then stop. But well, I gotta put the phone down. Okay, here's what I did. I basically hacked in this PAL delay, which normally goes 8, 8, and 9, but I made it so it does 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, and 11. Because for some reason, the old video chip, NTSC, is 61 frames a second, give or take. I just assumed everything was a nice solid 60. As it is, my preparations or whatever for PAL assume it's a solid 50, and I'll have no way to test this. So if it's in fact a slightly off 50, well, then the audio and the video are going to get out of sync on PAL, and there's not a thing I can do to test it. All right, trying it one more time. I realized what I was doing wrong. Count to 60, skip a frame, but I forgot to acknowledge the interrupt. So the very next, as soon as you leave, it goes back in and skips it. No wonder trying to adjust this number did nothing to the frame rate. But I believe this now works with the old VIC. Well, it'll take a while to find out. Usually when the other wolves show up and start talking, that's when I can tell.
Good for you. You snooze, you lose.
Looks like I got it.
I sure could.
But how rare is this old Vic, and should I even bother with it?
I haven't eaten for 3 days.
Every second it falls, or actually the video will get ahead of itself, 1/60th of a second.
My toothache just got better. I'm just excited, that's all.
Hey, and it ends at the right time as well. Not bad, not bad. So, yeah, so I'm able to handle the old Vic, but should I care? I don't think so. You know, what a pain. It's funny though, the audio, I managed to fudge my way and make it work. The video though, surprisingly, yeah, it played faster than expected because of that 61 frames a second that this manages to pull off, which could be the reason why. You see why it's all corrupted here? Like, somehow, I'm guessing, 262 lines are getting stretched into 263, or whatever cues that this LCD TV is using to keep on track, it's screwing up. Not a big deal. That's going to get sold anyways. You know, people using a CRT monitor aren't going to notice that this is that this does this because they're using a real monitor and not an old or a new LCD, even though this particular TV is from like 2004 or something.
I'm feeling great. My toothache just got better. I'm just excited, that's all.
And that's that. Now, I was timing this 2 minutes 33, 1.46, give or take. This is on the old Vic, Vic 2. It's still doing it 61 frames per second, but what I changed, well, I took a picture of what I actually did change, and there it is. Instead of having the NMI frequency 129, which is actually 130, for some reason it takes one cycle to reload, I switched it to 127. So the sound rate, instead of slowing the video down, I sped the sound up. So every sample happens 2 cycles quicker or 2 cycles sooner. So the pitch is actually, well, higher, right? Now, where is it? There it is. 120. I just jimmied this in here at 127 because it's supposed to do the same thing for both, right? So if I change that to say, well, 77. Now, if I got this right, with the NMI frequency much increased, the frame rate is going to drop significantly, and the sound should be a much higher pitch. Just to prove that changing that, it does make a difference. Okay, here we go. It can't keep up. It's playing out its buffer before it gives itself a chance to fill it. So the frame rate's going to be suck. Yeah, see, that's crap. But at least I know why. Okay, so I'm going to switch this. Well, I don't really need to switch anything. I think I have it down. I don't care if it's actually playing at 61 frames versus 60, even with the sound realistically a slightly faster pitch. Because I can't really notice the difference. And this sure beats counting to 60 and dropping the 61st frame, blah, blah, blah. Like with PAL, I won't ever get to test it. So I have to do what I did. Hopefully it works. And there's cycles to spare on PAL. But on the old NTSC here, well, the best I can hope to do is detect the old chip. And in this case, all I have to do is speed up the NMI rate, but that will lead to problems of running out of cycles. So there will be slowdown. But if you have the old machine, like the super old machine, well, you don't expect it to work with everything anyway. This is the one we cater to, the quote new NTSC VIX. Okay, me again. Yeah, I just had an idea. I wanted to see if it could catch up. I just added another one of these, and where does it fit in? It doesn't matter. It basically doubled the rate that it thinks it needs to go fill up the audio buffer. So this should now play fast. Fast pitch, slow video, without glitching. Here we go.
Sure is pretty, but I could never bring May here. Oh, it's so shimmery.
Now prepare for the crappiest frame rate. Boom, 58%. Fail. It's interesting though. I like how easy this is to sort of tweak. It's like, it's a relief that this possible problem. I mean, I don't want to have to keep a second machine just to test this. And I don't think anybody's seriously using the old ones. Maybe they are. I can't even remember how I got this. I think possibly some dude gave it to me 10 years ago. It doesn't matter. It's currently up for sale. Go buy it.
I'm feeling great. My toothache just got better. I'm just excited, that's all.
There. 2 minutes 36:48. So yeah, compared to the old NTSC one, you can see that this, well, the new NTSC VIX play at this speed, and the old one plays 3 seconds faster on 150-second video, which makes sense because every second it's supposedly playing 61 frames, so it's getting ahead of things and it's done its job sooner. But I think that's why the display rate is a little worse too, because every so often it's running out of cycles and it does fall behind a little more. Like I could, now that I know what I'm doing here, I could, just for fun, and don't worry, I'm not going to make you suffer through this, but I will show you the result. So this value was shared with both old and new the VIX. But I realized I could count to 60, skip number 61, or simply do that and speed up the audio to match. But for fun, I'm going to slow it down. And this is going to sound like crap, but the neat thing is, I bet you that 93% is going to rise, and I'm curious as to how much it's going to rise. So, well, I'll show you the results in about 2 minutes here. Ha! Well, it does sound pretty awful, but okay. What do you think? 93% is what it normally gets. I'm going to say 100. Oh, yeah! Look at that. Now, well, oh boy, my curiosity goes, at what rate can I set the audio to and still have it at 100%? Because I'm curious like that, even though I already have the solution, I believe the solution to get 100% properly compressing the color information. But oh, I'm so busy. I'm just doing this because selling that other Commodore has got me, back on this project again. And I had to iron that little old Vic problem out before I sold it. Interesting. Okay, I'm going to tweak this just for fun. And obviously, you can't be here for all of this because how boring is that? But anyway, I'll tell you right now through the magic of edit what's the slowest or the fastest slowness I can do this blah blah blah. You know what I mean. All right, I typed all this in because this basically summarizes what I've learned from dealing with the old NTSC Vic. You have a choice, unless you want to tinker with skipping every 60th frame of video. And I realized because what I was doing, oh wait, dude, no. Okay, hang on. Man. Okay, there we go. That's better. Yeah, I did 128 at first, and then I changed it to 127 because 128 was still out of sync. But then I realized if you add in the reload time of one cycle, well, 128 divided by 2, boom, 64 exactly. So every second line, it's playing a sample. And this one, because it's an odd number of lines, I always had it skip one raster line to stay in sync. Well, this one's got an even number anyway, so it doesn't need to do anything. And it'll always be jumping over the bad lines if you start it like that. I was thinking 127 is a weird number and it's going to get off sync and start doing this and happening during bad lines. That's not exactly what it does, and I'm pretty sure I don't even have to dig further to check that out. But there's the trade-off down here. Because of that stalled line, yeah, it's one of the samples is delayed, and the other way, it plays slightly faster. But that's the trade-off for a simple fix that works on old and new. And of course, the old NTSC version is going to be more taxed, kind of like how PAL everything works, and on NTSC some things work. Even less are going to work with an old Vic because it has even less cycles per frame. 16,768 versus 17,095. You can do the math. Assuming, 10222727 cycles per second of the CPU. Okay, that's that. All right, I think this is the one that's going to result in 100% playback. The NMI refresh, well, I'll turn this down. The NMI refresh is set to 147, I believe. So that makes 148 with the reload. But anyway, even though it really is happening all over the place and tripping over bad lanes, that's not important. I just wanted to see how much slower I need to make the audio to have it not lose any frames without compressing the color information. When this is over, I should get a 100% result. I expect it. Now, I just thought of something tonight, and I've tried to explain it in two separate videos so far, and I've been blundering each one. If I'm compressing the color information, I want as the most unchanged or the most repeatable color I can get. And to do that, I've got to analyze the frames, because sometimes what is assigned to the video matrix on the next cell, that color could actually be assigned to the color RAM and vice versa. So if I analyze the frames in a certain way, the bit patterns don't matter. I could smush the bitmap any way I want because it's the color information that it tells it what's what. So if I can moosh through 900 frames with that in mind once, have it rewrite it to the BBT, obviously a spare copy of the BBT so you don't blow the stupid thing. And then the color compression will be even more effective than what I currently have planned. Does that make sense? It's making sense to me now on the third video try. But yeah, because right now I do have a color scheme in mind, a color compression in mind, and I wrote it maybe back in February? It's May. So at the end of May. Yeah. Uh, Being done soon doesn't mean much in computer land. It's a good thing I don't have a deadline. Anyway, this is almost done. Okay. You ready for the 100%? This better be 100%. Oh! Fail. Okay. 148, I guess. Well, I'll try it again. Whatever. Okay. But yeah, I'll be back. I figured out how I'm going to do this color compression ideally. Go through the entire bitmap on every frame because the color compression does not rely on previous frames or what is currently in the color RAM right now. So you go through the bitmap entirely. You start at one cell, examine it, examine the bit pairs and the color assignments. What colors are being used? What colors are being used? What colors are being used, right? And then, even though this is a super pain in the butt, at least for the processor, screw it, we're going to put it to work. Pretend that color 0 is assigned. Well, actually, you don't even have to go through the bitmap. Pretend color 0 is assigned to the color RAM if available, right? Like if a 0 is there, we want to put it to the color RAM. Try 0, compress it, see how big it is. Then try 1, try 2, blah, 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 all the way up to 15, right? And there might be cases, obviously, if it's impossible to do because the background color or whatever is needed everywhere else. Oh, man. Is your brain melting like mine is? This is the fun stuff of optimizing. It's the what ifs and going down rabbit holes. Do I want to go down this hole? It looks tempting down there. I think there's snacks.